Who are the athletes who are most likely to be successful during any era of the game?
This year, at your age, how many touchdown passes could you throw?
60 at least.
There are certain players who have dominated their eras. So with that in mind, how about we examine 10 legends who would have been even better if they had played in today's NFL. Dan Marino, QB, Miami Dolphins. Dan Marino is often referred to as the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. But he's also in the conversation for greatest quarterback ever. Not only was he an all-time great, but if Marino played today, much like when he retired, he would hold almost every quarterback record in the books. To our younger viewers out there, yeah, he was literally just that good. The arguments for Marino's success in today's game are many. First, let's talk numbers. He was a 9-time Pro Bowl selection, a 3-time All-Pro, won numerous awards, among them an MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and a Hall of Fame induction. And from 1983 to 1999, Marino led the NFL in completions 6 times, yards 5 times, touchdowns 3 times, had 33 fourth-quarter comebacks, and 47 game-winning drives. By the time of his retirement, the Dolphins legend held 45 NFL records, including passing yards, 61,361, touchdowns at 420, and completions at 4,967. Not enough? All right, let's talk about ability. Marino had one of the quickest releases and strongest arms in the history of the game, which contributed to him being one of the least sacked quarterbacks. Another factor helping number 13 is that the game has just changed. Over the years, the league has instituted rules that have heavily protected the quarterbacks. They have limited what secondaries can do, and they protect the passing game. Yeah, there is no doubt in our minds that if Marino played today, he would be the most dominant quarterback in the league. Lawrence Taylor, OLB, New York Giants. First and foremost, Lawrence Taylor might be the greatest defensive player to ever step onto a football field. Period. Full stop. End of story. The second overall pick of the 1981 draft by the New York Giants, not only would Taylor go on to be an all-time great, he also completely revolutionized the game. The 8-time All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 1986 MVP, 2-time Super Bowl champion, member of the All-1980s team, and Hall of Famer, racked up 142 career sacks, including a league-leading 20.5 in 1986. His ability to prey upon quarterbacks and move the play to behind the line of scrimmage completely disrupted offenses across the league. Opposing teams created entire schemes designed to stop Taylor, and they didn't work. Thus the reason he is considered one of the scariest linebackers in the history of the game. Taylor's ability to completely revolutionize the defensive aspects of football would easily translate across all eras. Warren Moon, QB, Houston Oilers, Minnesota Vikings, Seattle Seahawks, and Kansas City Chiefs. There were a lot of great quarterbacks in the 1980s and 1990s. If you asked fans and experts to rank the best one though, you'd probably end up with a list that would include Elway, Marino, Montana, Kelly, Aikman, Fouts, and Favre. But do you see who's missing here? Yeah, Warren Moon. The man spent 17 years as a quarterback in the NFL shredding defenses, but he could have spent more. After a successful college career, Moon elected to go to the Canadian Football League, CFL, rather than the NFL. According to reports, NFL teams did not believe in Moon as a quarterback, and they wanted him to switch positions. This was done primarily because of racial biases that existed towards black quarterbacks at the time. His time in the CFL was just spent winning. Over 6 years in Canada, Moon led his team to 5 consecutive Grey Cups, the CFL version of the Super Bowl. If we added his CFL stats to his NFL stats, well, Moon would be ranked 5th all-time in career passing yards and 6th all-time in passing touchdowns. Despite missing 6 years due to racism, Moon was an all-time great. Like Dan Marino earlier, the rule change that benefit the passing game would definitely benefit Warren Moon as well. Jack Youngblood, DE, Los Angeles Rams. From 1971 to 1984, Jack Youngblood terrorized offenses across the NFL. But he wasn't necessarily the best player of his era. He didn't even really revolutionize the defensive end position. So why is the Rams defensive star on our list? Well, one word: toughness. Youngblood might be one of the toughest players in league history. The toughness that he displayed on a football field would be unmatched in today's game. Youngblood once played in 201 consecutive games. In fact, the only game he missed was in his final season. Deion Sanders, CB, Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, Washington, and Baltimore Ravens. When Deion Sanders burst onto the scene in 1989, he was like nothing we had ever seen before. Besides being an elite talent and fun to watch, Sanders revolutionized the quarterback position. position and was a triple threat on the field. The first step in transforming the quarterback role was his elite speed. The ability to keep pace with the opposition's top receivers allowed the rest of the defense to focus or double team elsewhere. He was also incredibly adept at intercepting passes, 53 in his career. But it wasn't just his ability to catch the ball, it was his ability to run the ball after the catch. Sanders returned 9 of those interceptions for touchdowns. Secondly, Sanders used his elite speed to become one of the league's best return men. His punt and kick returns often became spectacles. Lastly, he was a triple threat. He was a great defensive player, a great returner, and at times, he would use his speed and played wide receiver. I think it's easy to see why Sanders was a slam dunk Hall of Fame induction. But I mean, with his level of ability, which honestly was unmatched, he would have been an even bigger star today, especially when you factor in Deion's marketability. Jim Brown, RB, Cleveland Browns. There's an argument to be made that Jim Brown was the greatest running back ever. Brown spent 9 years in the league, making 9 Pro Bowls, winning 3 MVPs, and an NFL championship. As well, eventually being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like Lawrence Taylor, Brown was a tremendously talented player who changed the game. That type of ability translates across the ages. Barry Sanders, RB, Detroit Lions. Watching Barry Sanders on a football field was like watching a live-action video game. The man could make moves on a field that no one else could. For 10 seasons, Sanders enthralled fans and confused defenses to the tune of 15,269 career rushing yards, 4th all-time, 99 touchdowns, 10 Pro Bowl selections, 6-time All-Pro, an MVP award, and, of course, a Hall of Fame induction. Although today's defensive players are bigger and faster than those in Sanders' days, with today's defenses more spread out, Sanders' ability to juke and avoid defenders would simply result in Sanders running all over today's defenses. The Lions star back ran for at least 1,000 yards a season in each of his 10 years in the league. In fact, he was the first running back to accomplish that feat. His 10 1,000-yard rushing seasons also tie him with 2 other players for the most 1,000-yard rushing seasons for a career. What's more remarkable is that Sanders accomplished this while playing for the Lions, a team that only made the playoffs in 5 of his seasons. Simply put, Barry Sanders is the type of running back who could succeed in any era. His deer-like running ability would easily translate to the modern NFL. Ronnie Lott, DB, San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Raiders, and New York Jets. Ronnie Lott is another player who changed the game with his ability, aggressiveness, and toughness. The star was the first defensive player to win first-team All-Pro honors at 3 different positions. That ability, plus his hard-hitting, nose-rattling hits, allowed Lott to limit receivers across the middle of the field. As well, limited the opposing passing game to the sidelines. His 63 career interceptions still ranked 8th all-time. Lott was also one of the toughest players ever. Like Jack Youngblood earlier on our list, the defensive back exhibited a level of toughness that today's players would never touch. In 1985, he had the crushed tip of his pinky finger amputated so that he wouldn't miss any games. Seriously, show me a modern-day player who would go through with that. You can't. It was his force play and grit that helped lead the San Francisco 49ers to 4 Super Bowl titles in the 1980s. Unmatched toughness, tremendous on-field ability, and revolutionizing the game, yeah, Ronnie Lott would eat offenses alive if he played today. Eric Dickerson, RB, Los Angeles Rams, Indianapolis Colts, Los Angeles Raiders, and Atlanta Falcons. Eric Dickerson was one of the greatest running backs of the 1980s, and he's often overlooked when discussing the best backs. It's easy to see why he's ignored when compared to the likes of other star RBs at the time. You know, guys like Marcus Allen, Walter Payton, and Barry Sanders. But make no mistake, Dickerson easily ranks up there with those greats. In 1984, the Rams running back set and still holds the single-season rushing record with 2,105 yards. He was also just a complete workhorse in the backfield, as his average rushing attempts per game were often near the top of the league. That ability to endure a heavy workload helped establish the belief that a team could rely on one heavily used running back. Dickerson's ability and size, he was 6'3" and weighed 220 pounds, would easily translate well to today's running game, and he could easily become one of the best backs on the field today. Steve Young, QB, San Francisco 49ers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another quarterback from the 1980s and 1990s. Hey, if you're starting to notice a pattern here of believing that the quarterbacks of that era were better than the quarterbacks of today, well, you'd be right. You see, the quarterbacks from the 80s and 90s played in a time where defenses were allowed to get away with far more than they can today. The quarterback was not as protected back then as it is now. And while we've covered that aspect before, Steve Young brings a different twist to the argument than Marino and Moon. You see, Young had elite passing ability, leading the league in touchdown passes 4 times and completion percentage 5 times. But he was a dual-threat quarterback. He could also run. As a quarterback, Young rushed for 4,239 career rushing yards and 43 rushing touchdowns, ranking 7th and 4th all-time respectively. His speed, scrambling ability, ability to evade defenders, and physical toughness, as he typically did not shy away from contact, made him the model for the dual-threat quarterback of today. Steve Young would be great in today's NFL. But hey, what NFL legend do you think would have been wonderful in today's NFL? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.